There you are. How are things in Glacamara? Is the little willow tree still standing there? Lovely song sung by, oh, that's great, that great baritone or tenor. O'Dowd, what was his name? Oh, I know his name, it's quite by heart. Beautiful singer he was. Went to Australia, had a TV program there. Anyway, today, what was the weather like where you happen to be? It was still here this morning, and I did a few my prayer videos what I do in the morning, and then the weather seemed to be improving, and I had arranged to go up to my friend Oliver, who lives in Castleknock, and then he was going to drive in his car to this Memorial Gardens, which is up um, Chapel Izzard Way, and it's a garden that I think it would have been in years ago. It's a memorial for apparently soldiers that was killed in the First World War, and it's so well kept and beautiful. Of these cherry blossom trees in bloom, and some of the trees are having leaves on them already. Special type of trees, and perhaps it's warmer there or something. And you could hear the birds singing, robins, blackbirds. It's a beautiful sound, and because out on the road, this I remember it. I never saw as many apartments on that road. But I hope you could, and you hear about homelessness and see all these apartments. Of course, they should be at reasonable rent, and people can afford to rent them and have a 35-year uh, contract, the same as they have in France and these other countries. We were talking about something this morning along those lines, and really, property is far too expensive in Dublin because it's robber's paradise in that sense. The Irish people, the houses are too dear, and they'd want to be quarter the price, and rented want to be far less, and at the cost of living based on that, not from what they can rob from people. So we were up there in this memorial park for the soldiers, but it's so well kept by the Office of Public Works. Everything was just so game ball, and the lovely cherry trees, and the memorial across there for those that perished. A lot of Irish people fought in that First World War. Even though we had a rebellion here in 1916 during the course of that First World War, which was 1914 to 1980, started by the Germans, of course, and then they started a second as well. A very peculiar race of people. And suffice to say that my friend Oliver took some films or what he's able to do. He's fairly expert at this at various venues, including the Cross or Big Cross. And the park is so well kept. It's a joy because outside there's all these apartments on the main road, but it's like an oasis when you go in of peace and tranquility. And of course, on a Thursday, there wasn't too many people there, but most of the ones that were there were from abroad, Indians and other sorts of people. And how they're able to be off and living here is a mystery to me. But be that as it may, we were doing we did a fair bit of activity there, and it will go into a video that Al will do. He's very expert at um, examining the issues, and then he highlights them, and then we do it. And I don't have to be reading scripts or anything. I, with the experience that I have, I just talk about these things because when you grow to a certain age and you've experienced and your eyes and ears are open and you observe what you observe over the years, you get a fair knowledge. This is where the expertise of older people are not tapped into enough. because we've forgotten more than some of these will ever learn. They're living in an age that they don't know what happened yesterday, but they know nothing about our history. I was talking about the narrow gauge railway in Donegal, which it was on. And it was called a narrow gauge because the railway tracks was narrow and people could stop it as they were going along, putting up a red flag, and then go aboard. And there was a lad on the train, and they could get tickets and lovely scenery, and because Donegal is a hilly place. And the trouble is that this Dr. Todd Andrews, he wasn't a medical doctor, he was a PhD, the usual. And roughshod over all the people, every town and village was connected. And inherited this. And what did they do in the late 50s and 60s? They closed every one of them. There was connected towns and villages that heretofore were talking to themselves. They were so isolated, and they were able to go here, there, and yonder on the train and get connections, and then they could go from wherever they were, maybe to the west of Ireland or the south of Ireland, because there was a great connection. There wasn't, as far as I can see, the crowd that was running this country didn't have any vision, and we need a vision to see down the future and what people will need as the country expands. But we had economists yapping about the country could only control 2 million people. The rest would have to be educated to emigrate, which they were. So they would be able to not have to pick and shovel. But so all this type of stuff is nonsense. That if you have vision, you know what to do. And we could say to ourselves that to listen to the people. No, and have to listen to the people since capital N-O. But they got a nice wake up call when we voted no there lately by a large majority. So they can go back to the drawing board and change their wicked ways for what they've done. And they're talking about housing crisis and this. The price of houses is far too dear. Look at the problem and fix the problem, for goodness sake. Look at France and look at Germany, for that matter. There's none of this skyrocket prices. Their citizens have reasonable prices. If they want to rent, it's a 35-year lease. None of this, whatever they want to charge, it has to be based. So these speculators can take a slow boat to China. They won't get anywhere in France. In Britain and here, of course, it's bonanza time. And that's have to stop. Prices in the houses should be a quarter of what they are. Said that there this morning, I'm saying it again. So that's the talk anyway. So I'll finish a bit more talk tomorrow on some of the issues that I encountered today. Bye now, and I'll be doing that even for a blessed mother.